Nice and safe. Beginning of June. Oh, good grief! It's the whole beginning. Let's just read the first one. Wear the appropriate mask. You cannot succeed at deception unless you take a somewhat distanced approach to yourself. Unless you can be many different people wearing the masks that the day and the moment require. With such a flexible approach to all appearances, including your own, you lose a lot of inward heaviness that holds people down. Make your face as malleable as an actor's. Work to conceal your intentions from others. Practice luring people into traps. Daily law, playing with appearances, and mastering arts of deception are among the aesthetic pleasures of life. They are also key components in the acquisition of power. It's from the 48 Laws of Power, the preface. So for June, this month is based on the divine craft, mastering the arts of indirection and manipulation. Might as well read the whole thing. In Greek myths, in India's Mahabharata cycle, it's crazy. In the Middle Eastern epic of Gilgamesh, it is the privilege of the gods to use deceptive arts. A great man, Odysseus, for instance, was judged by his ability to rival the craftiness of the gods, stealing some of their divine power by matching them in wits and deception. Deception is the developed art of civilization and the most potent weapon in the game of power. Deception and masquerade should not be seen as ugly or immoral. All human interactions require deception on many levels. In some ways, what separates humans from animals is our ability to lie and deceive. Outwardly, you must seem to respect the niceties, but inwardly, unless you are a fool, you learn quickly to be prudent and to do as Napoleon advised. Place your iron hand inside a velvet glove. If you can master the arts of deception and indirection, learning to seduce, charm, deceive, and subtly outmaneuver your opponent, you will attain the heights of power. The month of June will teach you how to make people bend to your will without their realizing what you have done. And if they do not realize what you have done, they will neither resent nor resist you. Oh, and it keeps going. A few years ago, to help my mind get over the grind of writing 33 Strategies of War, I bought a pool table. After a hard day's work, I would settle into a game of pool and make myself completely focus on the green felt, the cue stick, the stripes, the solids. It ended up being a perfect choice of a diversion. Pool, it became clear to me, is all about angles. First, there are simple angles. You must hit one cue ball to either side when you are not straight on. This is often not as easy as it seems. Then there are angles you take when you bank the targeted ball off the sides, an entirely new game in and of itself. This goes further with double bank shot. There are angles of the combination shots and even more slippery combinations when you use a solid to slide off a stripe and knock it into a solid. Then there is the whole language of angles that comes into play when you are thinking ahead and trying to keep the cue ball in solid position, working with the open spaces of the table. Finally, there are the abstract angles in psychological space and time, playing with your opponent's mind, letting him get ahead, but putting himself in a corner in relation to the final balls on the table, snookering him into impossible positions, the trick bag, or seeing the entire table and how you will run it in short order. In other words, there are layers of angles, all more subtle and artistic as you go up the ladder and improve in your game. I am no longer a rank beginner, and I am certainly no hustler, not yet. To play well, to raise your game, your focus must be total. As in pool, so in life, suckers and beginners are locked into single ball at a time mentality and get all excited when they knock one in on a clever shot, but leave themselves nowhere to go. They never learn the angles above the angles above the angles. Then there are people who raise their game a little, who give the appearance of knowing how to hustle, who can actually knock in a few shots in a row. In Hollywood, it worked for some people like that. They would let others do the work and take all the credit. One director I knew would constantly play the game of hiring someone else to direct the pet script he had written, someone younger and eager and inexperienced. This person would inevitably fail rather early on in the process. The director would have to come in and rescue the situation, his goal all along. Better to set it up that way than for him to be seen as being overly ambitious and greedy, always insisting he direct all the projects on his plate. Similar to how Pat Riley engineered his whole return to coaching. But these types do not really see the whole table or have a good end game mapped out. They have some angles, but not of the higher order. They never get really that far. They stir up much resentment and resistance. They are low to mid-level hustlers. An acquaintance of mine who runs his own media business came to me a few years ago with a problem. A high-level employer had leaked something embarrassing about him to other employees. His angle in leaking this was to get the boss's attention and warn him about what else he might do. He was worried the boss was planning to fire him, and so this was his warning shot across the bow. My advice to him was to be aware first of what the leaker was up to, and then not to indicate any kind of negative reaction on his part. He was to continue seeming friendly, as if nothing had happened. This was a front, a distraction. The employee would have to focus on this and figure out what it meant. Was the boss being coy? Did he not care? Was he trying to win him back over? Was he intimidated? This would buy his boss time. As we then investigated the situation, we saw more of what was going on, and a solution came to us. First, he fired the two other employees who were allies of the leaker and obvious troublemaker. The third, he got transferred to an office in a distant location. All of this was ostensibly done as a reaction to their lack of performance. It had no apparent links to the leader in question. The purpose was twofold: to isolate the target, to make it harder for him to conspire and stir things up, and to send an indirect warning to him that the boss was not someone who could easily be messed with. His moves were not simple to figure out. They got the leader's attention and froze him in place. As we considered the leaker's possible reaction to these moves and how he might ratchet it all up if he felt cheated or threatened, he worked on a higher angle to his reaction so that we had as many bases as possible covered. We had mapped out a way to even checkmate him if he maneuvered to go public with his information. Iceberg Slim is one of my favorite authors. To Iceberg, this is divided between hustler and stucker. You were either one or the other. The sucker has no angles in life. No sense of the art of indirection, and can only make one stupid play at a time. The hustler always aims for the angles. Learn how to play them, become an artist in the game. Interesting. I haven't read the 48 Laws of Power in a long time. I forgot it had all that stuff in it, to be honest. This all, of course, is written in the context of like the court, the king's court. And I guess that's why a lot of people didn't like this book when he wrote it. Or like, to them it seemed like an evil thing to teach people. But this stuff is going on. This is how people are. It doesn't matter what age you live in, people don't change. Only time and circumstances change. People are historically have always been the same. All this stuff is even in the Bible. And he even says, like, even if you don't plan on using these tactics personally, you need to know that there are people out there doing this. And you are a fool to assume that that's not the case. What is all that rattling in my bag? Oh, it's this one. Let's put that there. I have a plastic like water cup I take. And it was making the most annoying rattling sound. Turn that down a little bit. Put on some background classical. You guys can't hear it anyways. I don't think you can. I think the noise canceling. I think that I tested that and the noise canceling takes it away. But yeah, The Art of Deception. This is going to be a good month to read through. I like all this stuff, to be honest. If anything, it might just make me more paranoid though, so we'll see how it goes. Have some of my coffee. All right. In Jesus' name I pray. Safe journeys. Whew. Yeah, I had some wild dreams last night. I did take a melatonin. Just one. You know, a good time before I went to bed. And I know I had a bunch, but the one I woke up to was awful. I felt like I was like, you know, like right now going to work. And I was getting on a freeway. But the freeway was like exaggeratedly like steep, like going up the on-ramp to get onto the freeway. And I noticed like there was no, it was like taking me way up high into the sky. Like I could see nothing around me but sky. And all of a sudden like it starts to twist and turn and wind, and then I'm going downhill, and the downhill speed was picking up quick, so I had to like hit my brakes because I was like, oh man, I'm just going way too fast all of a sudden. So I had to control it, and I was in control of it, but it was scary. And then I could feel myself like waking up from the dream, knowing that it was just a dream, and I could feel like myself like telling myself in my mind like, okay, you're this is just a dream, you're in bed. I'm waking up in bed like, yeah, you're in bed, you're fine. But that was scary. I didn't like it. Not a pleasant dream to have. But how could you read into that if you wanted to like psychologically analyze that? Because I started to right away. Like, what could that mean? Because everything in my world, like, everything's symbolic. Everything has meaning. That's how I see things. So, I guess what it could mean is I don't know what direction I'm going in. But I am in control of the pace of that direction. The pace at which I travel is within my control. And if I don't stay under control, it can get dangerous real quick. So that was my mind telling me, just be careful. Right? Because I was in the dream, I'm on a road with no guardrails on either side. It was a road I could fall off of if I didn't stay in control. And I'm driving. I was driving in the dream. And I'm a good driver. Right? I was good enough to be a professional driver. I was a Class B driver, so I drove for a living. So I know the rules of the road. I know how to read the road. I know how to read other drivers' behaviors. I'm pretty good at that. I can see what they're going to do before they do it. And most of the time, it does happen. So I am good at that. But I also know that I have a little speed demon in me because my Class B driver, that life was driving huge trucks, huge lumbering trucks that aren't very agile and don't go very fast. So unfortunately, the after effect of having driven those type of vehicles is this car seems like a little race car. It seems like a little go-kart that I can whip in and out of traffic with. And I have done that. Yes, I'm telling on myself. I have done that. I know I do have this little speed demon in me that needs to be put on a very tight leash. Because the bad part is I like doing that. I actually like the feeling of being... How would I word that? It's like an adrenaline junkie kind of scenario. Like I like the feeling that I could die at any moment. But knowing that I have that moment under my control, which goes back to the dream. I'm in control. And my own safety and my own well-being and the direction of that I'm traveling in is under my control. So that's what I got from that. There was other dreams too, but I don't really remember those. I woke up a bunch of times. Every time I woke up, it was from a dream. You know what I noticed too when my little speed demon wants to kick in? Like right now when I'm on my way to work, the freeway is completely open. There is absolutely nobody in front of me. Except for this guy that's about to pass me. But I don't feel the need to want to speed right now. I feel perfectly comfortable just driving 60 to 65 miles an hour when there's absolutely nobody on the road. When it's absolutely the safest time where I could do that because there's no one else around, I don't want to do it. It's when the freeway's jam-packed full of people that I want to mash on the gas pedal, which is very strange because that's the worst time to do it. Because I like that feeling of like whipping in and out of lanes, finding that little open pocket to just blast through and just take off, leave everybody else behind me. But when that opportunity is not there, I don't feel the need to want to have to go any faster than like I'm literally doing 65 on the nose right now. And all these people are going to pass me. So yeah, just stay calm and relaxed and I'll be fine. Let's have more coffee. Do. Okay. Paper bag. Yeah. It was very interesting, that dream. That's all I can really think about right now. Because I woke up knowing I had to get on the freeway. It was a very unsettling dream. Crazy part was like seeing nothing but road. It was literally sky all around me. I don't know if you can imagine that, but it looked like how a video game looks when it takes you up really high, like on a ramp. I don't know if you can imagine that, but that's what it was like. And there was literally nothing on both sides. Like there was a center lane, dividing lane, like there was, oncoming traffic. There was nobody else on the road but me, but you could see like the yellow reflectors right down the middle. So there was a side I was supposed to stay on. And I managed to do that. That was fine. I remember too, like as there was like an on ramp that I got on, and I remember thinking, "Oh man, this is going really high." Like thinking to myself, "Why the heck is this? Why is this doing this?" And all of a sudden, it just starts winding back and forth and up and down. It felt like a video game. Really, it looked like a video game. The whole thing. What could be the symbolism of that? Because that's how it really felt. I guess that's just really what, if it's a possibility, that's what life really is. Really is just like a game that you're playing. That's as good a guess as anybody can have as to what this experience is. No one knows what this is. Right? There's all kinds of conversations coming up now about how it might be a simulation. I heard about that easily over 10 years ago, that when that theory first was floated around. Probably more, to be honest. And it sounded, not to me, it didn't sound ridiculous to me, but when most people had the conversation, it's easily cast aside as being nonsense, but again, like I always had that thought, like, well, how do you know it's not? I mean, you really don't know what this is. You only think you know what this is because of what you've been told life is. I even hate using that 4-letter word, life, to be honest. It's such a tiny word for such a grand experience. Life. One syllable to encapsulate what this whole experience is. Life. And no one even thinks about it. I think about it all day long. I don't know how people can't. See, like this part of the freeway I'm on right now, it's like a very subtle incline for about a mile. This is the part where I leave the valley. I'm going, I guess, technically this would be the exit of the valley, this part of the freeway. But this is ever so subtle incline. This is what the beginning of that dream felt like. But all of a sudden the incline really sharpened. I really started going up high. I was like, oh, where am I? I felt like I took the wrong freeway in the dream. And that's what kind of made me like really, okay, I got to pay attention because I don't know where I'm at. That's when things really started to get wild. And I wasn't going fast in the dream. Like I was going how I am now, at a relaxed pace. It's just that the freeway itself started to get so like the twists and the turns and the embankments and like the decline. Like there was one part where took me up really high, but then I had to start to come down, and the coming down part was the scary. Not scary, but I really had to pay attention because I could feel myself picking up speed and things like starting to like come at me a little quicker than I was ready for. So I really had to like, okay, I got to hit the brakes because this is getting a little dangerous. So I did, and it was everything. Again, everything was in. I was in control of everything. It didn't feel like I was like gonna go off the side of the freeway or whatever the track I was on, whatever you want to call it, the road. I was completely safe at every moment, but I like really had to pay attention because things could have gotten out of hand very quickly. I guess that was, if you want to go back to the symbolism of it, there was a moment in the not so distant past where things could have really gotten out of hand. My woman knows what I'm talking about. I don't want to get into specifics. I just don't like talking about it. But it was the road that took me to the dogs. So, I mean, I don't regret it. But it ended up, that's what helped bring me to the dogs. And then from that point on, things really started to develop for me. At first, I started to develop. I think that's what it was. I started to grow as a person. The dogs had a huge impact on that. That's what gave me direction. And really, that's what helped bring me back to where I'm headed to right now, to this job. Because after like one of the rescue situations was like not working out, I'm like, you know what, I'm going back to this place. I always liked it there. It was a lot closer when I had left, and I left on good terms. So I knew I could always go back. But yeah, that was a moment that things could have really went sideways for me. In a lot of different ways. Yeah, I think for me, it's a good way to look at things is with a lot of this symbolism. I always think about the dogs again. And really what I thought I was doing was like I was going to go to this place and just walk these dogs. But really the whole process of doing that with those particular dogs was like I couldn't really walk them. You couldn't walk them. They wouldn't let you walk them. I just had to kind of take their cue and move at their pace of comfort, because those dogs were so being around humans was very foreign to them. So they were not open to being guided on leash. And the moment they felt that, they would just shut down and like hit the deck. They would just not move. That's when I had to. It's kind of funny. Like what I thought I was going there to do was actually really the complete opposite. I was going there to be guided by dogs. I was going there to learn from them. And I thought I was going there to help them. But really what was happening is they were helping me. Which is fascinating. Because really, if that's the way all of life works, if you take that one little instance, that little microcosm, and you expand that out into the macro, maybe all of life works that way. Or at least maybe all of my life works that way. I can't apply that to everyone. Maybe this is the way my life works. And like maybe what I think is happening on the small level is the complete opposite on the grand scale of things. I don't know. Just playing around with the thought. You know what just hit me too? My mind's moving all over the place. Going back to how I drive. Because I was sitting here as I stopped for a moment. My mom was like, why do I feel so relaxed when there's nobody around? And why do I get so anxious like when there's so many people on the road? And it feels like I need to move when there's a lot of people on the freeway. It feels like I need to get through them and find that open space. Because once I do find a pocket of like open space in traffic, I feel like I can relax again. Like I need to get away from all these people. I don't know what that is. I don't know why I feel like that. Like the more people that are around, the more it feels like I need to get away from them. I don't know. I had a great day with the dogs yesterday, by the way. I like how I talk to this thing like it's a person. Yeah, I was in with the small dogs and they were all very... Oh, it was crazy too. One dog, there was a moment where I guess there was two dogs from the same household that was staying. I don't know if they were boarding or if they were just daycare. But I didn't know that they were together. There was a big dog and a little dog. And one of the big dogs, a different dog, not of this duo. All of a sudden, he had an issue with the big dog of the group, of the couple, and I had to break it up. It was just a quick flare up. I had to jump in the middle of it. But as I'm doing this, I'm feeling like a little dog behind me, like biting at my leg, like at the back of my thigh. So I broke up. It was not even a fight. It was just like a quick flare up. I don't know how to describe that. You know, it would have turned into a fight had I not jumped in. Let's just put it that way. And I broke it up real quick, and I'm turning around like, what the heck? Who the hell is biting me? And I turned around, and it's like this little white guy, this little white dog behind me looking at me like, what the fuck? What are you doing? And I start laughing like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to help these guys out, and you're over here biting me. So later in the day, when it was time for, they came like, oh, this dog's going home. And they came in, I'm like, which one? And they point. I was like, oh, okay. And it was the big dog that the other dog was picking on. So I put him in the airlock so he could leave, and they're like, "Oh, he's got a friend in there." And they're looking around like, "Oh, that's that one right there." And they point, and it's the little white one that was biting me. I was like, "Oh, that's why you were biting me. Like you were trying to protect your friend." I was like, "Okay, I get it." Like, "Oh, poor little guy. He thought I was doing something to his friend, but I was protecting his friend from another dog. He didn't, but he doesn't know that." Like, "Oh, that was the cutest thing. He was protecting his buddy." I thought that was cute. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't have marks on my leg. To be honest, I could feel his little teeth. Like he didn't get a good like hold on me, but you could feel like the little nipping of his teeth on my legs. He couldn't get a hold of it, but I felt it. Little guy. The little guy was like a little white, scruffy, like maybe I don't even a terrier, like a nice like crystal white like terrier of some sort. And then maybe the bigger dog was like I couldn't. It was like a cream colored, like really light brown, like tan colored. I wouldn't even know what that could have been. Short hair, almost like husky kind of fur, maybe a little bit shorter, but not husky colored. I don't know what it could have been, but that kind of look. But yeah, it was a fun day. Everybody behaved except for that little flare up. And then too, I had to stay on that one dog that was trying to pick a fight because he wouldn't let it go for a bit. You could tell after I separated him and I sent him away because I get in their face and I tell them no, and like I'm real forceful about it, and they could tell, so they walk away for a bit. But I could tell I could see him like walking away, but still like looking towards that other dog's direction. I'm like, okay, this guy's not done yet. So I have to keep an eye on him. And sure enough, he would like circle around and try and go back into the corner where that other dog was laying, because the other dog was just laying there doing nothing. This other dog was being a shit. So I'm following him the whole time. And as soon as I see him take steps to go in that direction, I'm like, no. And he's looking at me. I'm like, I can see what you're doing. I tell him, I know what you're doing. And you can see him like look around like, oh, damn it. So he like kind of like puts his head down. I'm like, all right, fine. And he kept doing it though. Kept pretending like, all right, I'm done. He would like walk away, and slowly but surely he would circle back around and try to go into that corner. And every time, no, I'm watching you. I'd tell him. And then finally he gave up. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm pretty sure if I wasn't in there, I see how the other people are in there with the dogs, and I don't know if they would have known to keep an eye on that for as long as I did, because it was at least a good 5 minutes that I had to keep an eye on this dog, if not more, because every time he would circle back around, try and go to the corner, and that dog that was trying to bully the other one, he had a friend in there also, but his other friend was real friendly. He wasn't doing anything like that. All right, I have arrived. All right. Well, I'm safe. I'm here. Let's go do some things. Alrighty. Let's go to work.